Another very common type of question you would find on the ACT or the SAT is evaluating a function. A function f of x is defined as f of x equals negative 8x squared. What is f of negative 3? Go back to early Algebra 1 where you had something like y equals negative 8x squared. To get the y value, you'd substitute a number in for x. That's what you're doing here. This negative 3 is going to be substituted in for x. Remember, f of x is your y value. That's the output. X is the input. So we're going to input negative 3 in for x into that function. So we're now taking negative 8 times negative 3 squared, and that is going to give us f of x. Watch what you're doing. They're setting you up with these answers. Somebody will take negative 8 by negative 3 and get 24 and then square it, and they'll get 576. Or they may throw a negative sign around and get negative 576. Those are not the right answers. Order of operations. What you learned back in early elementary school shows up on this test. Negative 3 squared. If you square negative 3, that is positive 9. So you're taking negative 8 times positive 9. Notice positive 72 is up here. That's not the right answer either. We want negative 72. Letter F is the correct answer. If 3 to the x power equals 54, then which of the following must be true? Well, powers of 3, you know, 3 to the first is 3, 3 to the second is 9, 3 to the third is 27, and so on. 3 to the x equals 54. If 3 to the x equals 54, that's lying in between 3 to the third and 3 to the fourth. So x, the exponent, would be in between 3 and 4. Or in other words, 3 is less than x, which is less than 4. Letter C. What is the least common multiple of 70, 60, and 50? Least common multiple, don't forget what that is. It's the smallest number that each of those three divide into evenly. If you're dealing with fractions where you're dealing with the least common denominators, that's the same thing as the same concept as the least common multiple. So we're looking for the smallest number that each of these three divide into evenly. I would just eliminate answers. About the easiest way to do it. There's really no equation to solve or anything here. Take that first answer, 60. 50 and 70 obviously do not divide into 60, so throw that one out. Go to letter G, 180. 50 and 70 do not divide into 180. 60 does, but 50 and 70 don't, so that one is gone. How about 210? 50 and 60 do not divide into 210 evenly. 70 does, but 50 and 60 do not. So throw that out. 2100 is the right answer. 50, 60, and 70 all divide into 2100. They also all divide into 210,000, but we're looking for the least common multiple. So the least common multiple is 2,100. Letter J. Hotshot Electronics is designing a packing box for its new line of acoustical Odyssey speakers. The box is a rectangular prism of length 45 centimeters, width of 30 centimeters, and a volume of 81,000 cubic centimeters. What is the height in centimeters of this box? A rectangular prism, a box, kind of like a rectangular aquarium. You get the idea. That's what we're dealing with here. Volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. Well, the volume is given to you, that's 81,000, and the length is given to you, it's 45, the width is 30, you need to find the height. So to solve that equation for h, multiply 45 by 30, that is 1350. So 1,350 times h equals 81,000, and then simply divide each side by 1,350, get h equals 60. Don't miss that one. That is a very easy one on the ACT that you wouldn't want to miss. Letter B is correct. This one is confusing enough. 4 points A, B, C, and D lie on a circle having a circumference of 15 units. B is 2 units counterclockwise from A. C is 5 units clockwise from A. D is 7 units clockwise from A and 8 units counterclockwise from A. What is the order of the points starting with A and going clockwise around the circle? Always remember, you're the one taking the ACT test. So however you approach these problems is up to you. As long as you get the right answer, do it your way. That's all that counts. Most people are going to want to draw a circle and label the points around the circle. It's perfectly fine if you do it that way, but I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to think in terms of algebra. So I'm going to start by letting x equal the units of A. Now remember, clockwise is to the right around the circle, counterclockwise is to the left around the circle. So it says up here B is 2 units counterclockwise from A. So that would be to the left of A, or to the left of x by 2. So x is units of A, then x minus 2 would be units of B. C is 5 units clockwise from A. That's to the right of A. So if A is x, C could be written as x plus 5. And then finally for D, D is 7 units clockwise from A and 8 units counterclockwise from A. So you can think of that in two ways, x plus 7 and x minus 8. It's 7 units clockwise from A and 8 units counterclockwise from A. What is the order of the points starting with A and going clockwise around the circle? So you can see a little better when you put it in terms of x. If A is x, the next one to the right would be x plus 5. So it's A, then C, and then you have a choice between B or D. Well, x minus 2 is going to be closer to the left of A than x minus 8. So in terms of going around to the right, it's x, x plus 5, x plus 7, and then finally x minus 2. Again, x minus 2 is closer to the left or closer counterclockwise than x minus 8 is. So it's A, then C, then D, and then B. Letter J. A group of cells grows in number as described by the equation y equals 16 times 2 to the t power, where t represents the number of days. Y represents the number of cells. According to this formula, how many cells would be in the group at the end of the first 5 days? So some keys here are that t represents the number of days, y represents the number of cells, and you want to figure out how many cells there are after 5 days. So if t represents the number of days, we want to figure out how many cells there are after 5 days. We're going to substitute 5 in for t. So we're looking at y equals 16 times 2 to the 5th power. Now a mistake somebody would make here, forgetting the order of operations, they'd multiply 16 by 2, get 32, and take that to the 5th power. That's not what you want to do. Order of operations say to do the exponents first. So take 2 to the 5th power, that is 32, and then multiply 16 by 32, that is 512, and that is letter D.